assumption, and give a voice to the unheard. This is the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
Well, a lovely morning to you and yours. Welcome to radio. It's Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. My name is Sage Babalola. The Morning Express constitutes trends in the papers, mainland focus, as well as segments where we focus primarily on taking your contributions. We have the business segment, we have the entertainment segment of the Morning Express with Victor Achibong. We also have community report where you have an opportunity to call in and tell us what's going on within your environment. And we hope that authorities who are able to actually do something about that situation are listening and action can begin. We'll give you a rundown of all the programs to expect as we go through the day if you follow us through all the programs that we have listed for your listening pleasure. But for now, on the Morning Express, we're focusing on reviewing the papers and, as I said earlier, on taking your contributions on the stories that have been addressed on the front pages of our dailies. I'm Sage Babalola. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can do well to join the live stream to join us. You can join for every program, as majority of the programs that air on this station are streamed and they are uploaded to our social media platform, which means that you have an opportunity to catch up on your favorite programs whether or not you had a chance to listen live. So even if you missed the program, at your own convenience, maybe when you get back from work or you're on your break, you can just head on straight to our Facebook or YouTube platform and look for the program that you'd like to listen to. It's properly tagged, so it's not going to be difficult for you to find it. You can listen and you can also contribute by talking to the people who had commented on that post earlier in the day. This is surprisingly, we have started to count down till the end of the year. In another 76 days, I guess, it would be Christmas. And Mainland 98.3 FM, of course, in collaboration with our higher ups, have decided to do something great for you, the listener. Now, throughout the course of the month into November and finally into December, we have a countdown that will see 10 people win a bag of rice each. Yes, 10 people will win a bag of rice each. And I'm starting the show this way so you can start to prepare. Now, from 13th of October 2025, that's Monday 13th October 2025, on every show at random, questions will be asked. Now, if you answer these questions from October to December, we will do a tally of all the questions you've been able to answer. That's from October to December. And when we do that tally in December, if you answer, the more questions you answer, the more your chance of winning yourself a bag of rice. So if I ask you a question on Trends in the Papers, you get it correctly. If the boss asks you a question and you get it correctly. If Okpeyemi Akinode's Situation Room asks you a question, you get it correctly. From now till December, when we do a compilation or a total of all the questions you've answered across different shows, if you've answered maybe 30 out of the 100 questions that we have, you stand the chance to win yourself a bag of rice for December. One family, one bag of rice. So pay attention from 13th October, that's Monday. Pay attention. Listen to all shows because you don't even know what show the question is going to pop up. You don't know what time. It might be at the start of the show, it might be at the middle, it might be at the end of the show. That's when the question will come. So for those of you who start the show but don't finish, or those of you who join only when we're about to take phone calls, I'm sorry for you. You have to follow the shows through because you don't know when we're going to ask the question, and we will tally all your answers, and by December we would announce the winners, the 10 winners who will go home with a bag of rice each. We'll continue to give you information as we count down till Monday the 13th October 2025. But let's get into the conversation for this morning. Good morning again. Fuad will be joining us via the phone for Trends in the Papers. The Punch, Guardian and Vanguard newspaper would be our reference point for the bulk of the stories that we would address, although as expected a lot of these stories are replicated across all the papers, so we can just start with the Punch and round off with the Vanguard newspaper. Fuad Said, as I said earlier, is our analyst for the morning, and we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. Fuad Said, good morning, President General among the nations.
Good morning, please.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Oh, this bag of rice, can I answer questions?
Jesus. This is you see, this is how corruption used to start. Everybody at the meeting.
This is not an attempt to rig the thing. Oh. That's what I'm asking. Can I also answer questions?
No. Fouad, I've told them at the meeting, if anybody calls and say, "Hi, my name is Rebecca Achibong," you are disqualified. Oh, my name is Olamide Daniel. If you share surname with anybody that works here, you're automatically disqualified. Your family and friends. No.
Right. I like the right part of the conversation.
Don't do impersonation, Fouad. I know your voice. If you do impersonation and call to answer questions, I know your voice. It's for listeners. It's for listeners. Okay.
I like that. 10 bags of rice for 10 families in December. That's great. That's fine.
Yes, we are rich kids now. You know how we do things here.
Let's hope that we'll get more sponsors to push it to maybe 20 for 20 families. Not impossible.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're actually open to sponsorship. So if you as an organization would like to buy into this initiative, our doors are open. We could work out some sort of...
So we have 10 bags now. You can help us take it to 50 or even 100. Right?
To collaborate with us, you can call 0913-6000420 so that you can be answered as fast as possible, or go to the website at www.mainlandfm.com. There's a number there that you can call and you get all the details that you need. All right, Fouad Said, let's look at the Punch newspaper. Interesting things are indeed happening. Now, Innovation Minister Naji resigns amid allegation. I think that's like cabinet, amid controversy surrounding his academic records and allegations of certificate forgery. Naji, who was appointed in August 2023, announced his resignation in a letter to the president on Tuesday, expressing appreciation for the opportunity to serve. Now, confirming this in a statement on Tuesday, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, said, President Bola Tinubu has accepted the resignation of Jᴏɪṛ Naji, Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, following allegations against him. President Tinubu appointed him in 2023, and we thank him for his service and wish him well in his future endeavors. End of quote. Now, Fouad, we have Jᴏɪṛ who continues to insist that he's been a victim of blackmail, right? And is deciding to do the honorable thing to step aside amid this controversy of certificate forgery. Now, the reactions on social media is that as much as resigning is the honorable thing to do, they're also calling for prosecution, that you should be prosecuted because you did commit a crime. Perjury is also a crime because I believe you're usually under oath when you're being scrutinized, right? Yeah, so perjury, these are almost, if not criminal offenses, so you should be tried for the crime that you have committed or the crime that you are accused to have committed. Do you think it's enough that he has stepped aside, or further actions should be taken and the scrutinization of the entire process? All those who were screened to be ministers, do you think they should reopen their books and check who has forged what? Yeah, I'm asking for it's a question. I want to know what you think about that.
Well, so before we talk about prosecution, there's something here that I think we need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
The minister, now the disgraced minister, has not even accepted that the first certificate.
Yeah, it says blackmail.
So that's one part of the conversation that I think we are missing. Even if you look at Bayo Ononuga's statement, which is the statement from the presidency, there was never a part of it that they said that look, the man admitted to forging certificates. They said, look, he's resigning because he's a victim of blackmail. Yeah. You don't understand what I'm saying, Sage. So it's not as if he's resigning because he considers it an honorable thing to do, the honorable thing to do. He's doing it because, again, they blackmailed me, I need to step aside. He has not even accepted that he forged those certificates. And that's why I feel troubled, concerned that even in Mr. Bayo Ononuga's statement, that part of the conversation that he said he is a victim of blackmail was put in that statement. You don't understand. Let us even say the guy resigned, send out the resignation letter to the president. And in the resignation letter, like Mr. Bayo Ononuga is resigning because I'm a victim of blackmail. So the Bayo Ononuga is pretending not to know, or the presidency is pretending not to know, that this guy is actually a criminal for forging certificates. You don't understand what I'm saying. You see that they are tolerant of that behavior for also putting that part of the conversation in the. Why did that part of the conversation even make the press release in the first place? That the guy said he's a victim of blackmail. Hey, did you forge your certificates or not? That's the question. Look, you can be blackmailed. If you didn't commit the crime, say it. Can anybody blackmail you?
No.
I will now wake up one day now and say, Joe, you didn't go to the university.
You can go to
Yeah, you know the funny.
You can go to
I know the funny part.
and ask for my information.
You will go there, nothing will happen. I will say, Joe, I will deal with you. I will say you didn't go to your university. And the sad part of it was this is a guy who had forged his school certificate, going to court to say they should not release his certificate. And he's also in the same breath, he's telling the school to release his transcript. Don't release my certificate or release my transcript. What kind of thinking is that? See, the reality is that, look, and from the facts on ground, the Premium Times wants to give kudos to them. Because again, this was what the entire National Assembly Secretariat that are supposed to vet these things could not achieve. The entire 109 senators all put together who did the screening, the secretary, I'm sure they, at some point they would have also been involved in all of these processes. And then a Premium Times report, investigation of 2 years. And this is not supposed to even take 2 years, really, see. So, and now you have a situation where, so you see, because again, what it means is that ᴛᴏᴘ will never be prosecuted. One will jolly, only one power mommy, so jolly. Very simple, straightforward thing now. So the fact that the guy, as we speak this morning, has still not accepted that he forged certificates, because what it now means is that he's resigning because he feels he was a victim of blackmail. That's the main issue here now. He's not resigning but because he accepted that he forged certificates. Because if he accepted that he forged certificates, he will not just be resigning, he will be apologizing to the president and apologizing to the hey! So as at this morning that we are talking, this man has not even accepted that he forged those certificates. He's only resigning because he thought he was a blackmail. And he's the governor of Enugu that is after him. So that he was the one that told him to go and forge the UNS certificate. So really, and you look at these things about even certificates. I don't know. You know, what does it take to go to school? Say, special men.
Well, some people don't
go
want
to school. Sorry?
I said some people don't want to, which is part of the argument.
If you don't want to, you don't. And the constitution has even made it easy for them. You don't even have to have this certificate
exactly.
to become anything.
So the compulsive lie is what a lot of people don't understand. There was no need.
And this calls to question again, Sage, the character, the issue of due process, the character of persons in government. Because whether we like it or not, it's just what it is. I was still having a conversation yesterday with Barrister Curtis, and we're talking about some of our public officials. In fact, a governor, fact to say, don't be saying the gospel, a real story in this same country. Not that he was arrested, though. He was actually arrested, prosecuted, and jailed. And we have them in our politics. All around. So, do you wonder why nothing seems to be working really? If they decide to do a certificate audit, that they should audit the certificates of all our political appointees or elected officials, state, everyone around you. Only that will see the anyway, so as far as I'm concerned, and even the president appointed him, means that look, we are just fussing around on this matter. We are still not getting it.
I don't want to call it. I don't want to.
So Sage, the institutions of state that are supposed to prosecute it, whether we like it or not, are still going to seek counseling. Are going to seek, how do I call it now, recommendations and guidance from the presidency, from the AGF's office.
Yeah.
So it's now thanked the president for appointing him. He has also thanked the Nigerians. So, but that he said that he was a victim of blackmail. It means that they are tolerant of the nonsense the guy is saying. It's all a shame. So that's what I'm saying. So how are they going to prosecute you to go to and deal with you for a certificate of your school?
Well, I think we should.
For JYC certificate too.
I think we should move away from this particular conversation until a victim of blackmail. He has not categorically in any official statement, admitted to forging the certificate. In fact, what the papers had referred to as a confession was a paragraph from his suit where he was suing the university, right, for their refusal and admittance that if you claim to not have had access to your certificate, what then did you submit to the Senate? How did you get the paper that you submitted to the Senate when you were being screened in 2020? He just insists that this is black.
Sage, 1 minute. How did this guy even run that ministry? Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology. That kind of ministry.
I mean,
what was he doing there for over 2 years? And when we were talking about the screening, if you remember, Sage, when they wanted to screen these people, and we're talking about the fact that they need to do a thorough job. Get onto the job, do it thoroughly. Let's know the kinds of people, the character. We're talking about technocrats and politicians then. And we said that, look, we understand that politicians are going to scale through. But when it comes to the critical areas of our lives, let us put technocrats there. People of substance. They say in Nancy, and go for it in that kind of ministry.
Thank you very much for it takes over. Now, the National Commissioner, or a National Commissioner at the Independent National Electoral Commission, May Agbamuche-Mbu, has taken over as the acting chairman of the commission. Now, this followed the formal handover of duties by Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who is proceeding on a terminal leave. The transition was announced during a stakeholders meeting with Resident Electoral Commissioner held on Tuesday at the INEC headquarters in Abuja. On our social media platform, we would put out her portfolio so you can see exactly who this woman is. May Agbamuche-Mbu. She's the one who now holds the position of acting INEC chairman. So that would indicate that the president might still pick a person to be the permanent INEC chairman. But for now, Mahmood Yakub still has a few weeks, or was still supposed to enjoy a few weeks as INEC chairman. But he, in his official statement, says he's deciding to hand over right now so that the acting INEC chairman, May Agbamuche, can settle in, have an understanding of the terrain properly of that responsibility before she begins to take care of the operations of INEC. Well, I would assume that she's the first head of INEC, even if it's temporary at the moment, first female head of INEC at this time. For outside, what are your thoughts about this transition? Do you see this becoming a permanent thing for May in the future, or the fact that I'm just saying, because at the moment she's acting, which means that the president can still decide to put somebody else there. So do you think this is going to be a permanent arrangement?
No. Well, this is just a transitional arrangement. Because again, if Mahmoud is resigning, somebody has to take over immediately. And taking over would mean that people who are just next in line to him. And for people, I'm sure people would have it, if they don't even know her name. She's always on the table with Mahmoud Yakub.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't miss it. She's always there, very quiet. She hardly talks. Have you noticed that she's just there, appointed by the president? Again, with the advice and guidance of the Council of State. You understand what I'm saying? So I think the focus should now be more on who takes over permanently, from Mahmoud Yakub. Mahmoud Yakub has done his own bit. It's been 10 years of, I'm sure, maybe one day he's going to try and also put up a book. Maybe have an interview first, and then maybe write a book about his experience. And I think he's going to have a lot of interesting things to say about our electoral process and processing. So, but whatever it is, he's done his own bit. A lot of people would want to hold him responsible for the glitch and the non-functionality of IRM in the 2023 election. That's what, when you mention Mahmoud Yakub, the first thing everybody tells you is that, IRM did not work. There was a glitch. So whatever innovation he brought into the Operation INOS, I'm sure that he would have one or two things that he would have done properly in that 10 years. It would be unfair to say, he never did anything. But at the end of the day, the major issue we should now be telling ourselves is that, look, that part of the reforms we should focus on is to take away the responsibility of our appointing INEC chairman and INEC officials, chairman. But the reality is that when it comes to regional elections, it's not about the INEC chairman alone. It can never be about the INEC chairman alone. You have resident electoral commissioners. You have a returning end of the whole operation that we don't see. You understand? We may never see, but they are the guys who can do and undo. And so it would mean a holistic reform What about the security operatives?
The ad hoc staffs as well.
The ad hoc staff, the security operatives, so many things go into it. What about vote buying? How do we deal with the menace of vote buying when it comes to election become the INEC chairman? The problem with our elections are even bigger than that. What about our court processes? When do we conduct elections? How do we sort out electoral cases? So many things. And I keep referring to the Muhammadu committee report of 2008-2009. But where is the commitment? Yes, nobody seems to be committed to doing the right thing when it comes to reforming the electoral process.
We appreciate you for joining our live stream. We're still looking at the Punch newspaper. This is Trends in the Papers. Back to the Punch. World Bank dismisses Nigeria's single-digit inflation target. The World Bank has said the federal government's ambition to achieve single-digit inflation in the short term is unrealistic, warning that Nigeria remains among a handful of African countries still grappling with high consumer price inflation. In its latest Africa Pulse report, released on Tuesday, the bank projected that Nigeria, alongside Angola, Ethiopia, Ghana, Malawi, Sudan, Zambia, Sao Tome and Principe, and Zimbabwe, will continue to record double-digit inflation rates through 2025. I think the latest inflation figures are 20.12%, especially with the whole rebasing and all. We've been seeing a lot of paper reduction in the inflation figure. All the best, really. 20.1%. But we have a Olayemi Cardoso, CBN governor, who says that, congratulations on your progress, yes, but it's very unrealistic that you would attain a single-digit inflation. They are quite confident that for the whole of 2025 into 2026, countries like Nigeria, alongside Sudan, Angola, that we would continue to have double-digit inflation. For outside.
It depends on the way, when it comes to data and figures from government now, the calculation is based on what they see rather than what the reality is really with this thing. So if Yemi Cardoso is saying that, look, we're going to be pushing towards a single digit inflation, they could just do the abacadabra and achieve it. Remember,
we went from 36 to 5%. Or there.
No, they do that.
33 to 5%, I think. Yeah.
True, they just came out with one ILO conversation. We are not capturing this, we are not capturing that. This is the standard, and they dropped it to 4%. And we are in single digits when it comes to unemployment. So with inflation too, don't be surprised too. They could just bring up some indices, put this one, put it, and they say, look, it's now 3%. You argue your own. They say that it is 3%. From their calculation.
I don't think that they would do that kind of, because there's high food and energy price.
How do they say that can be too much?
Yes.
When we move from over 30% unemployment rate, even a figure that we're even doubting. And then suddenly they say, we were not capturing this, we are not capturing that, there's underemployment, and at the end of the day, we are found ourselves in 4%. So don't be surprised that they already have a model to achieve it. And that's why I keep saying that, look, whatever data or statistics government, because at the end of the day, in common sense economics, the figures are supposed to what? Be the reality of the people. In reality, in the real sense of common sense economics. But in reality, people go to market. And I've seen that, look, maybe they are marginal drop in one or two items, but in reality, headline inflation is still way up for them when it comes to what they are purchasing. So I'm saying that the number can say their own, they also have their own, but with what we have, and you hear that, look, inflation is now 5%. We are asking from now to tomorrow, they maintain that, look, with their calculation, rebasing, they bring all manner of things to it, and we'll have to continue to live with it.
Well, the World Bank doesn't seem to believe in their...
the way we are running the country now.
If you're going to take the recommendation of World Bank, you might as well take their assessment of what your economy looks like, right?
Okay. All right.
Well,
I'm just saying that, look, don't be surprised if you wake up tomorrow and they tell you 5%.
I will be surprised, because Lord knows I will want to see.
You're on your own. Me, I will not be.
Yes, I did suffer a mini stroke when I saw it. But
but they gave you reasons or not? They didn't give you reasons.
Yeah, they did.
So these are looking standard. We're not capturing this. We're not capturing that. There's underemployment, and the whole drama was all over. And then today now, if you officially check government data now, unemployment in Nigeria is just about 5%.
Yeah.
Check goes on.
say you sometimes earn per hour. For example, a bricklayer who works 6 hours gets a
Uh-huh.
per hour.
Now you don't really capture those things. That's part of employment now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But you know what they forget is that, look, in those countries that they are looking at, the standard there is that you are paid per hour.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you are paid per hour.
I think $7 per hour is standard. I need to.
No, there are some 16. More than 90% of people who really work, or maybe 60%, are paid on this monthly basis that calculate nothing in hours.
For
So how they have been able to juggle their own data to arrive at 4-5% is what I don't know.
For do you know that if you use kobo, that's how much? So you're earning kobos on the hour, which I don't.
So in those countries that have that kind of model, how do you adopt their own calculation of unemployment for Nigeria?
Well, for our side, we have to move on. Aside from what's going on with the World Bank, the assessment of our economy, and their disregard for the claim that by midterm plans is single-digit inflation, there's also issue of insecurity. For example, Borno residents of Borno State have recounted the ordeals and the strategies the insurgents used to seize the community. In an interview with correspondents on Sunday, victims described the experience as disastrous. One victim, Ajimodu, explained that the terrorists entered the community on motorcycles. They came with motorbikes. They started shooting while gradually JTF held the insurgents in a gunfight that lasted for hours, slowing their advance into the community, and that gave us enough time to quickly run away. Now, of course, some of them were able to escape into neighboring Cameroon. But Babagana Zulum of Borno State says that that particular community was just resettled 7 years ago. So they had suffered a brutal attack, and unfortunately, they've been attacked a second time, and they have headed to Cameroon. The Cameroonian government have been trying the best to help those who are victims of this attack in Borno State. But Fuad, if a gun battle between hunters and insurgents lasts for hours, you would expect at least 30 minutes to an hour. We should see security operatives come and rescue these.
Disconnect somewhere, and it's actually troubling, highly concerning, if you ask me. That even if there's no gun duel already, these attacks in itself last for hours most times. Not something that happens in 5-10 minutes in this community. Again, you probably talk about terrorists who have come with AK-47 against hunters who are with John Shakabula. You understand? So there's even no balance of power. But in their own little way, maybe they've tried, and like you said, maybe at that point, one would have seen some form of but we are not saying. That's why I think that there's a problem somewhere. And we can't continue to live in denial, blah, blah, blah. It's overwhelmed. I think they are not just overwhelmed again. They really don't have an idea of what to do again. And that's why you can see that communities are now saying that, look, maybe it's now time to allow us carry arms to defend ourselves. From what we have, from the results, from the consistent attacks, and the lack of swift response and adequate response to tame and curtail these guys, the right thing to do now may be to allow for people in communities to carry arms to begin to defend themselves. Because if you look at the security architecture in the country, does not have the capacity to deal with this problem. They are overwhelmed. And whether you like it or not, the box systems at the desk of the president.
Well, fortunate indeed. Our heart goes out to all those in Borno State. Abductions happened there as well. Some people were kidnapped. We don't know anything about ransom demand yet, but some people were kidnapped in that attack. And the Cameroonian government have been very open, right? They've been very supportive of those who live in Borno, seen as their border towns. They've accommodated them. Anytime these attacks happen, they open. Moving now to the Guardian newspaper. The Senate is seeking a 10-year passport ban for Nigerians convicted abroad. Now, this is part of the broad constitutional review that's currently going on at the Senate. The Senate has moved to tighten passport laws by proposing a 10-year travel ban on Nigerians that are convicted and are deported. Progress that have been made so far with the constitutional review. 10-year ban for Nigerians convicted abroad. Regarding NNPCL and the series of audits that's going on, the Senate is saying that NNPCL has submitted responses 23. Now, the details of the response of NNPCL has not been provided. Explanation was for the 210 trillion naira, which it also highlights that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is back. Her first sitting, yes, she has resumed. We're hoping that she's able to get on board, execute her responsibility without any form of inconvenience. Yes, let's see if her resumption is going to bring sanity to the Senate. But so far, the president also declined to sign two bills recently passed by the National Assembly. These are tax bills of of some kind. I'll give you details before the end of the program. But the reason the presidency declined to assent to those bills is that more money. So that's just a summary of how much progress they've made with the.
I think it was a busy day at the National Assembly.
It was.
Busy day. Yeah. And it's good that we highlighted some of the activities from the National Assembly. I think they rested very well. Most have had a good rest.
Yeah.
It's almost close to 2 months, right, of them being on recess. Even though they will tell you that, look, even though on recess, they are still working with constituents attending to issues. But I thought that it was a busy day. The Kano's matter, generating, it needs to be attended to and all of that. Again, the Kano matter was obviously called an opera at the lower chamber yesterday. But I think somehow it was resolved. I think maybe today, and it would be nice to talk about the Kano matter. But the only thing I have with it is that this is a case in court, so I don't know how the House can help to resolve this matter because the case is in court. In fact, if you are going to submit it, I don't have need that petition in the first place. So I think that beyond all of what will happen in the debate in the House on this Kano matter, the politicians in the Southeast need to step up, put in some more pressure. Because if for tomorrow we wake up and we hear that the federal government is withdrawing all the cases against Kano, the matter ends automatically. And I think that, look, for example, some fish were posted on Kano, where he has now said that, you know what, I'm going to drop all my differences with all politicians on this Kano matter. So governors, House of Reps members, senators, and assembly members, everyone that is a politician in the Southeast, join me to march on beyond all of that. Politicians in the Southeast can do more to get these guys should be resolved politically. So for the other issues that Tasha is back, it was nice to see her looking very sharp.
She always does look sharp.
But she was very sharp yesterday.
Right.
And I think that again she had to take the seat she had rejected before.
Yeah.
She was a bit quiet. But my mind tells me that there's more drama that will come.
No.
I don't know when and how the drama will come, but the drama is not over.
All right.
Something tells me that something will spark.
Okay.
But that's on that. But she tries that. And then on the issue of the NNPCL, let's see what those responses to the 210 trillion or remitted funds or unaccounted or unaudited funds are. And then we can begin to query what the NNPCL response is when it becomes public knowledge. So it was a very busy day at plenary yesterday. It continues today.
The Guardian tells us alleged genocide. Congressman of Congress Riley Moore has written to President Donald Trump calling. And we have Paul Ibe, media aide to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who accused President Bola Tinubu of alluding to a Christian genocide in Nigeria in 2014. He referenced a tweet that the now President Bola Tinubu had put out in 2014, which reads, and I quote, "The slaughtering of Christian worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls to question the competence of Jonathan to protect Nigeria." So Paul Ibe is saying that you, the president, at some point had actually agreed to the fact
in 2014.
Yes, in 2014, that Christians were being killed. But we have the Christian Association of Nigeria that says that we should disregard this claim of Christian genocide. It's just an exaggerated narratives promoted by foreign actors.
To play politics with everything and anything. You know, the reality is that a lot of the things people in government today are said in the past. They are now taking it back, walking it back because they are now in charge. You know, for everything they accused Jonathan of, which was legally about politics. For everything that they did to quote and unquote demonize the Jonathan government. In fact, they have done times 3 of those things. Or more than times 3 of those things have happened under their own government. And now you can see that they now understand that, look, don't play politics with everything. Especially when it comes to very sensitive matters like this. The reality is that there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. And let me be very factual with you, and we all know this. These guys who are killing they burn houses, they kill people. Okay, the people that went to go and kill, it's just, again, that's why we always happy. And we can excuse the ignorance of most of these politicians from the US. I think it's just pure ignorance.
Right.
They just read things on internet, on social media, and they just speak on some of these things and just put it out there. The reality is that, look, Nigeria, the same thing was when even he went to the security challenges in South Africa, but it's not as if, look, said, look at it's just that we don't even work on data. I am sure that if you look at the number of persons who have been killed, properties and belongings to this problem, they're even Christians. So it's not a religious matter. The reality just classic ignorance from these US Congress people who are saying these things. Whatever they want to achieve with it, I don't know. Yes, it's just unfortunate.
Well, I wanted to actually reference the describe it, but maybe we'll talk to Fuad Said about it very briefly on Mainland Focus before we start taking your contributions. I'm sure a lot of you have stood for cost per kilometer of the road, how much progress they've made, how much money they've spent, the loans, and well, David Mai was not very excited. We'll be back with Mainland Focus where we open